So, welcome. This is episode 63 of the Danu Wellness podcast. And today's episode is called Ancient Healing, the Celtic Way. And I have a beautiful friend and facilitator, healer, Aisling, here with me, Aisling Fraser. So, Aisling is the founder of Danu Wellness in Ireland. She's a therapist and a traditional Irish healer. And she works with what ancient energies from the land of Ireland. She has energy healing work that she calls Core Cellular Healing, and it's ancient energy work
Mm.
connected to her own indigenous medicine from her home of Ireland. So, welcome, Aisling.
Thanks for having me, Amy. I'm delighted to be here and delighted to chat to you.
Yeah, I am too. So I actually also forgot to mention because I just wanted to say this that
Mm,
the ancient Celtic healing process that you do, so it's
yes,
rooted in the heritage and history of Ireland, and it's a
yes, and
process.
beyond.
Yes, and it's a process of mystic invocation and sacred prayer that was used in Ireland over 6,000 years ago.
Yes, that is correct. Or thereabouts, not to be specific because we weren't there personally,
Hmm.
but a lot of the energies that come through to weave their way around this very precious work. Um, would guide kind of the parts that would be revealed to us that we would know about the work. But the work comes through the connection with the divine that exists within each one of us. So we'll ever only know whatever we need to know to be able to hold space for another. And that's perfect. We don't need to know it all. Although human nature is to ask many, many questions, who am I? Why do I do this? It really doesn't matter. It's more about being held in a very sacred space, um, and a safe space in community, which is something that we really, really crave, I think, in the way that we live. At these times, the way I live anyway, I know, I crave these open hearted spaces where we can call upon something that is very mystical and magical that we don't fully understand, but yet we know is here to be able to support us really in navigating this complicated modern world that we live in,
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and to feel like we're more than what we think we are, or to remember perhaps that we're more than what we think we are.
Yeah, and what actually led you into this work? Or like how,
Mm.
yeah, what led you there?
I suppose I would say that it was a path of deep remembering that I've always been on, maybe from a very young age. Um, that I have been like recovering all these little chapters of me up to the point of where I am today. And I hope I'll, keep on doing that, keep gathering all these little, just like little plants in nature, all parts of myself so that I can remember that actually I'm fully part of nature, um, and that in fact I am nature, and my nature is nature that exists both outside and within me. So probably I suppose the work really awoke within me fully after many years of doing all sorts of aromatherapy, reflexology, all of the different modalities of trying to be a healer. Um, then I really, really realized that I'm actually not a healer at all, just somebody who's walking alongside the path with somebody, and that we actually are here to heal ourselves. That's the most profound, I suppose, awareness that can arrive with us, is that actually we're all here to hold space for each other and to walk alongside each other. And that is a real honor, when somebody allows you into their world to be able to open up parts of them that may not be fully accessible to them, or that all of these stories may have landed upon, um, making them think that there's something totally different from what they are, which is this bright, luminous soul. Um, So yeah, what did you ask me? What was the question? Oh yeah, when did I get into it? So probably we're like maybe about 6 years ago now. Yeah, that it fully awoke in me that this ancient process, I would say, came back because it's a whole other way of learning. It's not through books, it's more by being in the energy that you actually begin to reveal layers of yourself. And then one day you find out more and that you can hold space for this ancient work, and the energies just came flooding back through me, and this very beautiful process that, if you would like, I can tell you a little bit about it.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so it comes from the Tuatha Dé Danann. So I'd say it's more pre-Celtic than Celtic from what my understanding of Celtic would be. And also it's quite Nordic because all of those stories have a real big weave for me. The stories of the voyage of the Tuatha Dé Danann. They came from the Nordic lands onto this land by boat and apparently burnt the boat to stay here forever. But again, we're only interpreting all of these very ancient stories. They came from Gorius, Morius, Phineas, and Ferdius. And it was kind of from the north. I keep pointing upwards that they came. So there's a lot of threads that exist between lands outside of this land that would have practiced the same really deep connection to the land, is what I'm going to call it right now. It would be connected to all of the people who would have built our stone circles. We would have gathered in community. Just, I suppose, if you look at the structure of the stone circle, again, it's not a fortress. It's not to keep people out. It's not to fight. Not to say that there wasn't different battles and wars at all times during history, but that was kind of the center of this work, was the coming together at different times of year, like Samhain and Imbolc and Lunasa, and all of the other times of year that were really aligned with the stars and the seasonal turn, and all of the communities coming together to open up to something really beautiful and almost otherworldly. When the portals were thin, we would have gone in together in community, and maybe there would have been different people that did hold space for all of these beautiful energies to come through. I don't really know about what happened exactly at that time, but how the energy would come through now is it's in a very, like, I suppose it's in a very efficient way for the way that we live, because ancient energies can really lend themselves to modern living. So it's about tying together the threads of what was and what is today, not to go back in history, but actually to bring all of those older parts that we may not have brought forward yet forward into this time, like traveling outside of time and space, to be able to support us in our lives today. So it would be through music. So in the process, we open up the space through the invocation, calling in all of those very deep ancient wisdom keepers and all of the other energies that would work through me. I suppose each facilitator might be a little bit different because of the nature of their soul and who they are, who they've always been, and their family, etc. And all of those energies will begin to weave their way around this very magical, mystical circle. Um, where the heart will completely open fully and the soul will feel safe to be able to pour into the space whatever is needed. So the process kind of has a little bit of dialogue where, different people might speak in the circle, or something that has been troubling you might come into your conscious mind, and you might choose to speak it into the circle, or actually you mightn't choose to speak it at all. But because it's held in such an open um, energetic field, it'll all be up for helping and really, moving from all of the limbs and the cells. We use music, a really high vibrational songs. And I think I've already given you a song that came today for us that we might pop on in a minute. And that actually speaks into the work again. It's a song by Christy Moore, and he's really describing that old way that would have been once upon a time that did become outlawed, I suppose, as history changed and as expression became lesser and lesser in this land. So we use the music, and then we use the incantations, which are like sacred energetic prayer, where it's like I'll say something, I'll say some words, and I'll ask everybody to repeat after me. And that will be like a kind of kind of the words that need to go out to all the four directions to be able to bring us whatever we need, or to be able to help us to release whatever needs to go because it's not in full alignment with who we are and what we are, and actually what we came here to do, what's getting in our way, what's helping to keep us small or blocked or stagnant. It helps to work with all of our old stories. So yeah, that's it really. It's really beautiful, profound space where you can feel a really a great deal of love. And you can feel a great deal of knowing of who you are that you may not feel in the everyday, kind of the ordinary, practical lives that we live out there. We don't get a chance to connect to this beautiful crossing the veil process that is very indigenous to this land, and as I said, other lands as well. It's part of our heritage, part of our history, and actually part of our legacy that sometimes may not have been passed on to us because of all of the many visitations to our land over many, many thousands of years, you know. And sometimes we really linger on, you know, modern Irish history, but like, you know, Ireland has so much history. It has thousands of years. I think like the oldest bones found were 9,000 years old or more, probably. I don't know exactly the Ballinhatty woman, but yeah, anyway,
Yeah.
it's
Oh, I
interesting.
went to Skellig Michael last summer and they were talking about the monks and what the monks built. And in my head, I'm like, I don't want to know about the monks. I want to know about the Tuatha Dé Danann. Like, I know the Tuatha Dé Danann were here before the monks. So, yeah, likewise, there seems to be a focus in, more the Christian history of Ireland rather than, like you said,
Mm,
pre-Celtic. Um,
yes.
so, just for our listeners, because I have listeners all over the world, and if they've never heard of the Tuatha Dé Danann before, like, how would you describe who they are to someone who's never even heard of them?
It would be a very old way of living that they would have encapsulated. There are many different ways of speaking into what the tribe embodied. From all of the stories that I have gathered along the way, they would really honor all areas of creativity and would have very much worked with the land. That deep connection to the land is such an important thing, actually always in our history. So even when we talk of all of the waves of people, like even the monks in Skellig Vihil, you know, like they arrived in a certain place because of a reason, you know, because of a pull or a knowing. So I think like a lot of our stories are very much intrinsically linked to the bodies of land that we actually walk upon. And all of the stories are written there. So, I mean, I can tell my version of who the Tuatha Dé Danann are through my eyes. But what I would encourage people to do is to go and rediscover you. Like I would feel I have a very deep connection to that people. It feels to me correct that is part of my history somewhere. um, but I would say that, you know, go and find out all of the threads of your connection to all of the ancient wisdom of Ireland and all of these godlike creatures that they have been described as, like Lulavada and the Dagda and Bridget, our goddess, and all of the threads of stories, the remnants of their stories that actually exist in different parts of the country. So, you know, over the last few years, as I have traveled around Ireland, but with my family and on holidays and for matches and like bizarre, like really modern things, this world exists alongside it and it's always accessible. So, you know, I might have been somewhere, you know, just like dropping a child off somewhere at a match, and then I would be pulled into another piece of that land that's right next door, the pitch that has this amazing story. And it might be like a little bit of a board that I'll read that will lead me to a well that will show itself to me. And then I'll find out so much more about that piece. And with the Tuatha Dé Danann in particular, those stories are dappled around Ireland. You know, you have just thinking of the Paps of Anu, for example, the breasts of Danu, the mountains. down there.
I'm going there.
There's
I'm going there on
You're
Sunday.
going there tomorrow, and it's so important that you go there, because there's so much like Shrone. That's one of the most ancient cities, Cahir Crodarug in Ireland, that we would have gathered just the way that I'm speaking, but outdoors around the stones over many, many days that we don't really have the opportunity to do now. So we do it in like 2 or 3 hour sessions together preferably, or by ourselves if we're across the sea, because
Mm.
we can do that, because this is an energy that's available to everybody that's ready to receive it. And we don't have to be in the same room.
Yeah,
We can
you
be
don't.
anywhere.
Yes, and you don't have to travel to the land either. Like it is obviously it's amazing to travel to the land
Yeah,
and feel connection
yeah,
to people tell me all the time they want to come to Ireland.
yeah.
And like have a connection to Egypt. I think a lot of us do. I don't necessarily want
Yes,
to go there, but I
yeah,
can still connect with the land and receive from the teachings and all the magic there. So I
totally.
think it's important to say that, yeah. And I have worked online with you when I was in
Yeah,
Florida and you were here in Ireland, and the the work is just as magical. It's just
it's just as
a lot of
magical. Yeah, yeah. And thankfully, like while I suppose this way it's not hugely about reading books, it is about reading books, because a lot of our stories show up in like that, books and different little markers along the way. It might be something that we read on the back of a truck, and we're like, oh, weird. I was just thinking that. Or it might be just this magical little twist of faith that connects us to a person that holds a little bit of the story. Or, like you were saying, how we connected together, like the energy weaves in the most magical of ways to be able to bring us back what we need to know for our next move in life, or our next tiny baby step in life.
I feel like there's all these little seeds that activate different things in you, but like you have
Yeah,
there's a natural like you said there's a natural remembering. So it's like
yeah,
I there's and I just think it's important to note that that remembering isn't always like a cognitive memory. Like it's not
no,
like I don't have a visual of the Tuatha Dé Danann or Danu or the Fae.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
years ago, but I grew up in Ireland and I grew up dancing and moving with the art. So I don't necessarily know a lot of information about the art or about
yeah,
trees, but
yeah.
I'm like, I know I'm deeply connected to trees, but I can't tell you what, like,
Why?
I'm not intelligently educated about it. And I think
Yes.
sometimes we think, I know, I
You're
thought
just
that
turning on.
if I didn't
Yeah.
have the information, it meant I didn't know. And then I started to watch a series on Netflix a good few years ago, and it was about Fae.
Yeah.
She was a Fae creature, and there was different Fae in the program, and it woke something up in me, remembering Fae
Mm,
creatures.
mm,
And from there, it was just like this, like you said, like more things. And then I got her name is Amelia Hutchins. She writes novels,
novel.
fiction,
Sorry,
fiction
fiction
on.
on.
That's weird. Are you hearing
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
a verb? Oh, so she writes fiction novels that are also very sexual and romantic and love stories, but they're all about the fae and the witches and the warlocks and all of it.
Yeah.
And she started talking about Danu and
Mm,
and that again, just hearing these different stories in different
mm,
ways started waking things up in me and
yeah.
getting me curious, like who is Danu and what did Danu do and who's the Tuatha Dé Danann, and then coming to you, and I had some sessions with you, and you brought
Mm,
me even deeper into connection with
yeah.
this ancient way, especially I think one thing you really stuck out for me when I worked with you was the humbling, how like
Mm,
how humbling it is to be able to work with someone, right? Whether that's I get
mm,
to touch their body, I get to run energy work, I get to do like that, that it's like you showed me that like bowing down.
mm,
And I think that was really important for me because I came from a world where it was like you're the facilitator, they're the client, or you're the
mm.
therapist, and it was like this kind of like this wall of separation between you and them. And like
Yeah.
you just said, like, I'm not a healer, I am walking alongside you. And that was really
Mm.
important for my soul and my heart to
Mm.
get,
Yeah,
because that other way didn't sit with me,
yeah, yeah,
you know?
yeah. But I suppose that's kind of maybe that's a way that we have been shown, and maybe the way that we think is the only way that we know, because it's kind of like a modern way.
Modern. Yeah.
It's not an old way, but a kind of an old way is kind of a different thing because it's, it's so expensive, there's so much more than ourselves than we don't even understand. So to be able to hold somebody in their darkest of days, like that is a real honor, as in uh, bring tears to your eyes, kind of an honor, like, that somebody can feel that's safe, that they can crack wide open and leave some of their untruths behind, or what they think are truths, because they're a lot of it is not true at all. They're just stories, and I suppose that would be it would be a very indigenous thing, I'm thinking, or a very tribal thing, that the tribe works like a network, almost like mycelium. It's like, while every tree has a unique purpose, or every mushroom has a unique purpose, there's no hierarchy. There's nobody really that's in charge. It's like kind of like the cosmic play that's going on, that like when we all step into our own uniqueness, then that's what makes the world really intriguing, magical, creative place. And if we believe that we're above or below, then we don't get to allow the fullness of ourselves to like come through, you know? And
That
I
was
suppose that's a lot of what we would carry. That's a lot of our trauma, probably as a nation. I'm speaking from my personal perspective, that we would carry is that we're either below, above or below, but above reflects below. So it's all one. It all comes back to nature, as in one is an echo of the other, like, so yeah, beside is definitely better than in front or behind.
that's this is such a big conversation, but also like,
Yeah,
so when I was living in America, I was there for 13 years, it is a culture of capitalism and hierarchy.
yeah,
And it is all, authority figure. And then I was in a
yeah,
group, a group that had a lot of those dynamics.
yeah.
So when I left that, I could feel the pull, that ancient, like that
Mm,
it never set well in my heart. Like my soul always felt like there's something about this that just doesn't sit with
yeah.
me. And I had the pull back home. And when I started to come back to Ireland, what was so healing for me was the people, there is
Mm,
a humility in the Irish people. And when I say
mm,
humility, I don't necessarily feel like they bow down either. Like it's not like I'm
mm,
less than you. Like it, but there is a like you said, that tribe energy. Like
mm.
you've got your talents, I've got my gifts, and we're all part of the whole. I'm not going to say
Yeah.
it's not there in every Irish person, but as a whole, the land, and I think the culture still has that here.
Mm,
Um, Obviously not everywhere in Ireland. Obviously there is tensions in different parts of Ireland, but that energy you talk about, it is like, okay. And I feel like what's happening in the world is that hierarchy and authority is falling apart, and more people are like, I don't want to live like this. Like, I want to live in the tribe. Like, I want to be in community. I want to be where we're all, no one is above anyone. And when I have people tell me like they want to come to Ireland, or they're looking for something, and lately when I'm talking to people,
mm,
wherever people are from, whether they're in America or different parts of the world or here, like people are seeking this older way. It's like we are burnt out from modern capitalism, industrialism,
mm,
the patriarch, this kind of authority led way.
mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I suppose we're really seeking connection to ourselves. I suppose, maybe through many years of, I guess, like, oppressive kind of institutions, and, you know, ways that, it's kind of like different levels and layers in ecology, um, where we became underexpressed,
Mm.
and unable to show our inner world to the outer world for all of those different reasons, like what you're speaking about, capitalism and all of the modern things that go on, the modern complaints of living in this world. Really, it's about under expression because our voices were nearly like cut off. Our language was cut off. And, in some level, there was this severing that went on, and it was quite intentional, really, to pull us away. There's so much more at play that we don't even understand. But you can't really govern a nation of wild things that are in full expression because wow, like the world will be so bright and it will look totally different. But like, you can't control a bunch of wild things. So therefore, I suppose through all of our historical events, there was a huge move to that severing of the knowing of who you are within yourself. And then when you don't know who you are within yourself, you come up with all of these stories. You know, I'm the boss. I am the opposite. I am the one that's oppressed. I am not able. I am not this. I am not free. And then you live an under-lived version of your life. So I suppose the work that comes through all of this ancient tradition is about bringing back love, light, and full expression and knowing of who we are, and taking that embarrassment away from all of the parts of ourselves that we shudder to show to the world, taking all of that embarrassment away and all of those ideas that we hold about ourselves. I'm not a singer. I'm not a poet. I'm not a warrior. I'm not this. Taking all of them away so that actually we can all sing together in sacred circle. And who cares what our voices sound like, because it's the energy and the resonance that comes through the act of giving fully parts of ourselves. That's what's really going to change the world around us. That's what makes everything really bright. And that's what people really strive to bring back, I guess, to themselves. And yeah, the work that I do really, really supports that. Like I've been in workshops of this work, with an amazing teacher and healing medium to all of this energy, Ger Lyons. And I've seen, and myself, people coming, like not playing musical instruments, being like, oh no, my family was like not musical at all, and not singing. And then by the end of 6 days, people are singing out loud together and picking up an instrument and being like, you're like, why can't I try? Like just because like my mom and dad didn't play the fiddle or didn't play a tin whistle, maybe like 1,000 years ago, my great, maybe it was somewhere within my tradition, or that knowing comes back of like picking up a drum. It's like, why do I love the drum? There's more of that memory comes back, and it's like, oh wow, maybe that's why, because there was something very special and sacred about this particular instrument that's more of an instrument to opening up the other world, um, than I might ever have known before. And that's a really beautiful thing to be part of. And it's also a really beautiful thing to witness because then it's like having a flower garden. We're all watching each other grow together. It's like I might work with you at a particular time and then I see part of you awaken and I might be looking at you on Instagram and I'm like, oh my God, I love that she's doing that now. And she never did before, as opposed to me feeling uh, all of the feelings of separation that might be envy or jealousy or like that. Oh my God, she's so much better than me. Or, it's like that doesn't exist when we all flower together. We
Yeah.
complement each other in great beauty and harmony.
And that's the energy of the tribe, right? Like there is no one better than
Yes.
the other. Like, we
Yeah.
all have our unique gifts and we all awaken different things in each other.
Yeah.
Um,
But we're still
yeah.
human. We're still human.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we're going to continue on through all of our layers the entire time that we're here. So it's not like we, go for a couple of sessions of any type of deep connective work and come out the other side and we're like, oh my God, I'm like a different, that doesn't happen. We have layers and layers and layers, and we're also human. So we are here for many other purposes that, again, we don't understand. So we have to play out all of these karmic connections or disconnections, and we have to thread through all of the really crappy parts and the dirty parts and that's part of the human condition, really, like, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're
It's like
not gonna like,
normalizing the human experience too. Like
yeah,
I also like am aware like sometimes we can fantasize the old way, like as if like,
yeah, it's not.
lots of crap went on in the tribe too.
Totally. Yeah. And that becomes part of the material, actually. When we work in circle together, that becomes part of the material that shows us our stories. Because, we might walk in to a space that's wide open like this, and straight away somebody might start talking about something, and, we become triggered. Or we might look across the room and see somebody that we just don't like the look of, and we can't really explain why. And that shows us more of our stories. Or somebody might talk about a particular feeling or emotion. And because we're in community together in an energetic field, that will awaken some memory in us that might help us to come back to the essence of what it is that's lying within us that needs to be like really just moved on and brought back to love and light and connection. So that's why groups are amazing, because sometimes in one-to-one, although it's really deeply effective, and we will receive all of the openings and all of the initiations and awakenings and everything. When we're in community together, just like when we're with our family, that shows us that shows us our stuff when we're all together, because it's not easy to be also holy, when you're in a gathering of tribe, which is family. It's like, oh my God, how come I go home, I do all of this work, and then I go home at Christmas and I feel like I'm about 12 again, and I can't stand my sister, and all of these things start showing up, and that's our material that's up for movement.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, so I have a different type of question to ask you here. So I
yeah,
actually wrote a book called Dancing with the Fairies. So I teach a
yes,
lot about fairies and embodied movement and connecting
yeah,
the art and the art spirits through the body through movement.
yeah.
And I also I talk a lot about art and nature, nature spirits
Mm.
and the fae creatures. And I get asked this question a lot, and I just love to hear your version of it. And because, like you said, we all have
I'm
different
worried.
interpretations. No, but so it's simple, but it's like people ask me all the time, what's the difference between fae and fairies?
Wow, I feel like they're all just cycles of words, really. Like, I don't feel like there's much importance on the nature of what word ends up like. It's more of the feeling that um yeah, that kind of the word sentient is actually coming to my mind right now, almost like, I suppose for me, the fairies, the the Dinama, the Shioiga, the Shining Ones, the Tuatha Dé Danann, it's more about that real feeling of a sentient being, and kind of that illuminates all of these words. Are straight away I talk about the fairies, and I feel like I'm going away with the fairies. I feel like my mind has almost entered the other world straight away when I call upon that very ancient wisdom keeper. So that's what I'm going to say rather than fairies. Obviously, our understanding of them is in constant evolution. But for me, it's about touching what's at the other side, and the fact that we do have that ability to move between realms. Believe it or not, like while dropping the kids to school or doing we do have that ability to touch those evanescent beings that are there at the other side. For me, it's all one. Tuatha Dé Danann, Shining Ones, Fae, Fairies, She, Shuiga. It's all of the one evolution of something that's a very deep and sentient being. When as I actually say that, it's almost like the words have landed upon me from somewhere else. So sometimes that might happen me, that I'll receive that information while I'm speaking it, and then the knowing comes afterwards. I'm like, oh my God, really? It's like I don't think it. It's like that information is giving back. It's given back to me, like that imbas flow, that we speak about here in Ireland, which is like how we would have connected as seers or seers, or the Volva, what they would have called in Nordic tradition of the Volors, how they would have connected to the ways of the people, you know, through that divine illumination that just lands upon them. So it's almost like an instant knowing, but you really don't know where it comes from. And that's a very beautiful thing that's ever available through all threads of us at any given moment. It's like sometimes people will write a song or a book and they'll be like, I just don't know where all of those words landed from. I don't even understand. And that would happen to me from time to time. I'll write something and I don't understand it. And I might even have to like Google it or whatever, certain words, but it's like the she or the shining ones have decided to give me back a little bit more of the wisdom that is already within my making somewhere. So I love talking about them because it always brings me to a totally other place, the other place that we talk about here, like Tir na Nog, High Brazil, all of that. Like the minute that you summons that most divine energy, it'll start bringing all of these nuggets of wisdom, and that happened to me actually. So like I wrote a book, actually I have it here, a couple of years ago, called Voices from the Land. And
Beautiful.
it's a series. Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a series of poems that landed in that exact way. So I went to a place in Belfast to do a little bit of work and to go to a soccer match that my son was playing in. It's always side by side, like it's always side by side. And while they were in bed, the hotel in the morning, I went to this giant stone, it's not even a stone circle. There's a dolmen in the middle of it. It's amazing. It's called the Giant's Ring outside of Belfast. It was near our hotel. I went there early in the morning and I just got this beautiful message that came through, like just when I was at the dolmen, about the connection between the other world and all of that wisdom flowing through. So I went about my holiday, continued on about my day, went to the match, did everything else, and then traveled back home to Cork. And then for the next really like 30 days, every day, I'd lift my hand and a poem would come. And every day I would leave a voice message to my sister, or I would ring my sister and I'd be like, oh my God, you're not going to believe this. And then I would read it out to her and she'd be like, oh my God, I'm bawling, or like, what is that? And I'm like, I don't even understand. It's like some of it is in Irish and I don't even speak those words. So I'm looking them up. And that is what the book is. So like the book is about that imbas flow that's available, and all of that that's a little bit outside of ourselves that is there for us to access. This really beautiful, old and ancient way of kind of seeing between the lines and receiving what is there within all of these gorgeous dragon lines or ley lines or whatever they call them, for us to be able to bring back at the end of the day. It's not about like, oh my God, Aisling is doing this poetry. She's a real weirdo. Like it's about bringing it back to the people, and the bottom line is healing. Because sometimes I'll read certain poems to people, um, and that poem, it's not really a poem at all. It's an incantation. It's almost like a Mergan's words that he placed upon the land with the visitation of the Milesians against the Tuatha Dé Danann. He summoned Ireland as such, and then they were able to come safely past the ninth wave onto the land, and then fight against the Tuatha Dé Danann as such, all the way up to Tara, they say, so that then he was able to trick, or they were able to trick, the Milesians were able to trick the Tuatha Dé Danann and said, well, that's fine, there's been enough lives lost. You can have half of Ireland and we'll have half of Ireland. And then the Tuatha Dé Danann said, yeah, absolutely, no problem. And the trick was that they gave them the bottom half of Ireland underneath all of the cairns and the fairy forts and all of those stone mounds that we see at the top of the hills. And therefore, that's why they say the Tuatha Dé Danann still reside underneath all of those mounds. So when we delve more into all of the stories of those places, there's more of this imbas flow for us to receive, or more of the words that are hanging in the air available for us to receive to be able to help both the land. Because I feel sometimes like when you read those words back to a piece of land, you help to lift all of the land's weight and heaviness and things that happened upon it that we can't even imagine. And also we help each other with those words because there's a lot of healing, and they really identify in the book in particular, they identify a lot of our historical stories that a lot of us would hold the patterning of, not just even in Ireland, but in many other lands, in particular in America actually, because a lot of the people would have emigrated. So some of the stories are about the famine, the poems about the 1916 rising, about the Tuatha Dé Danann, about, the energy kind of retreating and what might have happened in our timelines for us to not be typically moving in the way that maybe this work would bring us into. So yeah, and
Great.
that's available on Amazon, or yeah, through me.
Yeah, send me the Amazon link or whatever
I'll
link
send
you
you the
want
link.
to send me, and I'll put it in the
Yeah,
show notes. Um,
yeah,
yeah, no, that's powerful. And you actually use incarnations in the
yeah.
work that you do, right?
Yeah, it's a really old form of using words really to heal, as in allowing the words to come from a place other than, as what you would say, the cognitive thinking mind. And then those words they're actually energy. It's just like paintings can be energy, songs can be energy, all forms of creativity, and our gifts, our dawn can be a really helpful to transmute and kind of change whatever is going on, anything that needs to be really moved on,
Yeah,
you know?
no, it's very, very powerful. I've been crying while you've been using the incarnation and getting me to repeat words and been like, she's in my world. How is she
And I
there?
know nothing.
No,
Yeah, like as in
nothing.
I know nothing.
And this was when we were in a group as well. It was an online group session. You're talking to the group, but I was like, it's everything to me. It felt like someone was inside my world, putting words to it.
Yeah,
So
and that's the magic
powerful.
of the energy, that's the threads that exist, because actually I know nothing at all. Like
Yeah,
if it was left up to me, I wouldn't know what to say to anybody.
yeah, I know.
But thankfully, the energy just weaves its way also through me as an instrument to be able to support whoever is around, which is a lovely
Yeah,
thing, really. It's very special.
it is. It's magical. It's
Yeah, and it's not just a
otherworldly.
me thing. It's
Mm,
otherworldly, and it's not just a me thing. This is like all of the legacy of the world as such. I just happen to be someone that's at a point in my path that can be available to be able to help every now and again. Not
yeah.
as much as I would like to. I'd like to do more of it, but 3 kids and all of the blah blah. Yeah.
Well, if I know we're kind of coming to the end of our time, but you do
Yeah,
have some words that you
I did.
downloaded, right?
Yeah, I
And
did.
sorry guys, I'm moving around. My dog is barking now. And we were gonna maybe you were gonna say the words, and then I will play the
Yeah,
piece of music you give us. But and then just before you do that, like
yeah,
because we'll finish up then, is there, if people are looking for you, you are available for
yeah,
online private sessions and you have online group
yes.
sessions.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, so actually, so I have a website. I'll tell you what it is, but I'm just about to change it to oldwaysireland.com. Oh God, maybe I shouldn't have said that 'cause somebody might steal the name. I'm only joking. No, they won't. It's danuwellnesscork.com currently, but I'm just changing my own business a little bit because I'm not going to work in a treatment room anymore. I'm going to step out into nature more and into community a little bit more. So yeah, so through that, and also my Instagram page, I'm pretty active on, which is Danu Wellness Cork, I think, and Facebook. And my number is 087 745 3925.
You're like,
Call me.
can we just do old school? Like, here's my phone number, call or text, call
Just,
me, just
yeah,
call
I'll
me.
go as far as WhatsApp. Just because I never know online. I'm like, oh, I'll change that. I'll change that now. Sure, look,
No,
anyway, if somebody needs to find you, they'll find you, as you said
exactly.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
that's it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I will be doing sessions at home actually in this room. I'm just finishing this room. So my sessions now that are one-to-one in person, I'll be doing at home. We have a little room in the garden and I have all of my beautiful herbs planted here and weeds that I would really like to bring into the work more because it's so important that we're just surrounded by weeds, you know?
Yeah.
Just because they're amazing. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to read the words because I could just go on and on.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of modern technology. These words just landed right while I was waiting to open up the Zoom here, and I'm going to read them out, and then that beautiful song, maybe we can play that because that would be lovely. So just maybe for a second, if whoever's listening wants to close their eyes and just for a moment, connect to all of their senses. If you'd like to connect to all of your senses, your breath, your body, your skin, just allowing yourself a little bit of space to emerge from anything that you might be thinking right now, connecting to what we were speaking of, knowing that at the end of the day, it's all energy, really, isn't it? It doesn't matter about the words, it matters about the energy that both myself and Amy are so wanting to bring back, really, and so needed at this time. Open up a marriage with the divine and leap into the other world outside of ordinary time. Twist the tales of our people to be host for all that has passed. Take all of our broken pieces and wear them as your mast. Then, when the tides are turning, take leave of your boat. Take away the old stories and send them afloat. Then rewrite the stories and wash the seas clean, unencumbered by our ancestral hate and afflictions, beauty rising from within. Then open the throat and allow the wisdom to flow. Into the other world we will go to hold each other in the palms of our hands. Imbas arises. Let go of your plans. Take leave of your schedules. The wisdom is here to guide us, to teach us of our own bountiful cheer. Cool.
Of the moon in the center often stood a woman equal with the others, respected for her word. One of the many we call the witches, the healers, the teachers of the wisdom of the earth. And the people grew in the knowledge she gave them, herbs to heal their bodies, smells to make their spirits whole. Hear them chanting, healing incantations, calling for the wise ones, celebrating in dance and song. Voices started to yawn, make it to meet their Kali in our now. Voices started to yawn, make it to meet their Kali. through domination. They were bonded in their worship of a dead man on a cross. They sought control of the common people by demanding allegiance to the Church of Rome. And the Pope, he commands the Inquisition was a war against the women whose powers they feel. In this Holocaust, in this age of evil, 9 million European women, they died. And the tale is told of those who by the hundreds, holding hands together, chose their deaths in the sea, while chanting the praises of the Mother Goddess, a refusal of betrayal. Women were dying to be free. Isis is Tuatha Dé Danann, make it to the meter Kali in our now. Isis is Tuatha Dé Danann, make it to the meter Kali in our now. Now the earth is a witch, and we still burn her, stripping her down with mining and the poison of her walls. Still to us the earth is a healer, a teacher and a mother, the weaver of a web of light that keeps us all alive. She gives us the vision to see through the chaos. She gives us the courage, it is our will to survive. Isis is Tuatha Dé Danann, make it to meet their Kali in our Isis is Tuatha Dé Danann, make it to meet their Kali in our Isis is Tuatha Dé Danann, make it to meet their Kali in our Isis is Tuatha Dé Danann, make it to meet their Kali in our
Thank you. That was powerful.
Beautiful song, isn't it?
Yeah, Christy Moore. He's singing about Isis and Hecate.
He's amazing.
He's connected.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Mm.
Totally. Another way of telling stories, like, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, he's such a storyteller. He's incredible. We'll put a link to his song in the show notes for those of you who.
Yeah.
Christy Moore is a real old Irish artist who's been singing about Ireland and the land and the history here for a long time. But I didn't know he sang about the goddesses.
I know. You would never think that, but he sings about a lot of our history, actually. That's really worth listening to. You know, he really is.
Yeah. So yeah. Thank you so much for joining us, Aisling. This was probably
You're
one of my
welcome.
favorite podcasts I've
I
ever
really
done.
enjoyed it too. Look, I love talking about all of that.
I feel like I got a whole session. Um, And I'm just going to invite any of the listeners, if you listen to this and you got something from it, like share it with a friend. Check Aisling out on Instagram or on her website. And if you have any questions from anything we talked about today, you can always send me a message, and you can always message Aisling. So thank you so much.
You are so welcome.
Bye.
I'll see you soon. Bye.